Hi, I'm Sonny.
And I'm Ellie. Welcome to the Smithsonian's Donald W. Reynolds Center for American Art and Portraiture.
This newly renovated historic landmark, inspired by ancient Greek architecture, dates back to 1836 and is shared by the National Portrait Gallery and the Smithsonian American Art Museum.
Today we'll take you into the National Portrait Gallery, where we will tell you some stories of Americans who have shaped our culture.
And through art, you'll learn history.
I'm going to see the presidents, Rosa Parks and the American Search for Justice exhibition, and oh yeah, the Great Hall.
The Great Hall? Sounds cool.
And maybe...
Wait a sec. It's not about seeing the hundreds of portraits that are on display. It's about learning history through what you see. Hey, let's go check out a portrait of someone who's really, really important.
Okay, but first you need to leave your book bag here. Nobody wants to bump into a portrait by mistake, so the best thing is to just leave your book bag on the bus or in a locker.
Now let's talk about what exactly a portrait is.
A portrait is the likeness of a person. Different mediums are used: painting, sculpture, print, drawing, mixed media, and video portraiture.
And of course, photography.
Actually, this is oil paint on canvas, painted so incredibly realistically that it looks like a photograph.
It's as if you could reach out and touch her.
But for this painting and for all the portraits in the museum, it's important to stay at arm's length and don't touch anything.
Even if you do wonder if it is real.
So, what should we go see next?
How about we take a look at our first president?
Sounds good.
The National Portrait Gallery holds the nation's only complete collection of presidential portraits outside of the White House.
This painting of George Washington, known as the Lansdowne Portrait, was painted by Gilbert Stuart in 1796, the last year Washington was president.
Wow, nice. Stuart could paint. What's next?
No, hold on. There's more than just a good-looking painting here. There are books with titles that refer to Washington's role as the president. And look at the sky. To the left are dark clouds, symbolizing the stormy times of the American Revolution. And to the upper right is a rainbow, a reference to the end of the storms and a bright future.
So basically, good times are ahead.
You got it.
So you know a lot about this piece. Let me show you the money portrait. This unfinished painting, known as the Athenaeum portrait, is the same pose used in the Lansdowne portrait, and is also known for another George Washington portrait that we're all very familiar with. So of course, this is our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. Alexander Gardner made this photograph in February 1865. Unfortunately, the glass plate negative broke after the picture was developed. So only one print was made before the negative was thrown out.
Some people think that this crack was a foreshadowing of Lincoln's death that occurred just after the Civil War ended in April 1865, and only 2 months after this photograph was taken.
He looked so tired and worn out.
Yeah, but there were some good times too. I can tell you one story that happened right here in this building, but not now, later.
Both of them were very much a part of the abstract expressionist movement of the 1950s.
Not every important person in history was a president.
Isn't that the truth?
Exactly.
Excuse me?
You're right. To be exact, let's look at Sojourner Truth.
Okay, what is the Sojourner Truth?
Sojourner Truth was a person born into slavery and named Isabella by her parents. She was recognized as a free person at age 28. She took on the name Sojourner because she felt that she was carrying on God's work by traveling across the country and speaking against injustice. She sold small photographs of herself, known as cartes de visite. They were like personal trading cards that were collected and exchanged during the 19th century. The carte de visite often came with a caption underneath: "I sell the shadow to support the substance."
What do you think that means?
I think she meant to let people know that she sold carte de visite not to make money for herself, but to spread the word against slavery and for women's rights.
How did that get here?
This is the largest painting in the National Portrait Gallery. It's 10 by 16 feet. This painting of Grant and his generals was completed after the Civil War ended.
How'd they get all these people on horseback to pose for the painting? I'm just kidding. The artists used many different drawings to create this painting.
That's right. Ole Peter Hansen Balling spent 5 weeks near the battlefield to make the sketches for these Union generals before he started to paint on this large canvas.
All this talk about Civil War and General Grant reminds me, don't you have something to tell me about Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, come on.
I don't see any portraits of Abraham Lincoln.
No, this is the Great Hall. It used to be the largest room in the United States. Also, guests at Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural ball walked through it to dance in the North Hall.
I heard there was a food fight.
So the story goes, but there's no food allowed here or anywhere in the museum. You can eat in the courtyards.
So what can we do here?
Here on the 3rd floor in the Great Hall, there are 4 exhibits about great Americans during the 20th century, including those who were involved in the social and civil rights movements.
I think most people know the story of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on a public bus in Montgomery, Alabama, so that a white man can sit down instead.
And then she was taken to jail.
This sculpture brings up a lot of questions, like, why do you think the artist sculpted their heads to be so small?
I don't know, maybe small heads, small minds.
Well, that's a few portraits down.
And many more to go.
So, what's next?
That's your choice.
But don't try and see all the portraits at once.
That's right. The National Portrait Gallery is free, so you can come back whenever you want, even on Saturdays.